Good morning, everyone. I hope you had wonderful dreams last night. I hope you slept well and that you had plenty of rest. Today, we are moving on to the fourth day of creation, which is pretty interesting. We're going to be talking about the luminaries in the firmament. Remember when we were talking earlier about the light and the darkness, and that God separated between the light and the darkness. God is on both sides of the firmament, both sides of the waters, occupying all these spaces, reminding us and assuring us of the omnipresent God. Yeah. Everywhere, even you. I know. It's crazy, right? Hard to believe that you are a spark of God. Wonder what that means. We'll talk about that a little later too. But let's read on with this, okay? Put on my vision enhancement glasses so I can see things a little more clearly. It's like magic. I know, it's weird. So, God said, "Let there be luminaries in the firmament of heaven to separate between the day and night." And they shall serve as signs and for festivals. Festivals with a V, not with a B. Some of my redneck friends would be like, "No, festivals, man, festivals. It's like Super Bowls, festivals." And for days and years. Interesting. And they shall serve as luminaries in the firmament of the heaven and shine upon the earth. And it was so. So think about this for a second. Let there be luminaries in the firmament of the heaven to separate between the day and the night. Now, we know that the heavens, the firmament, it says the firmament of the heaven. See, the firmament he called heaven. And that firmament is that dividing line. It's a line of demarcation. It's a static. It can't be measured. You can't tell one side from the other. It's so thin, it has no measurement. Okay? So the firmament is that dividing line. Scientists would call it the unified field, or it's part of superstring theory. So we would look at that as the beginning of the separation between the spiritual universe and the physical universe. Okay, the physical God and the spiritual God. Okay. that part that is the wave and the part that is particles. So when we start talking about the creation side, see, now we're getting into the solidness of things. Okay? And there's not much conversation about what's going on the other side, on the spiritual side of things, but it is hinted at throughout the Bible. But I want you to get the idea that on this side, when we're going through the Bible here, they're starting to talk about how physical things are created and the magic that happens there and the miracles that this is. Okay? So let there be luminaries, light, in the firmament of heaven to separate between the day and the night. Okay? When we talk about these separations between the two things, it's telling us that there's duality to everything. There's this positive force and negative force. Not that positive is good and negative is bad. That's not what that means. It means that in the physical world, those things have to exist in order for there to be harmony, in order for there to be peace, in order for there to be what's the other word I'm looking for? Balance. Okay? Balance. So we're talking about this duality thing so we can talk about balance. Okay? So let the luminaries in the firmament of heaven to separate between the day and the night, and they shall serve as signs and for festivals and for days and years. They shall serve as signs and for festivals and days and years. Okay, so what are we talking about here? You know, when I explain to you that the light and the darkness are two sides of the same coin, it's the duality. What does it mean that they shall serve as signs and for festivals and days and years? Okay. So when they're talking about this here, they're hinting to us about the creation of time. The idea that time exists. It's where, because when we're talking about they shall serve as signs and for festivals and for days and years, you see, all that has to do with things that have to do with time. Okay? Because here's the thing. If there is an entity that is eternal, it has no concept of time, because it has no beginning and no end. It's always been, you see. So these things that have always been have no concept of time. So the luminaries are spiritual beings, you see. And think of luminaries as that, as spiritual entities, like angels. Okay? Like angels. Not necessarily are, but like angels. So now we start coming into the concept of time. So for days and years, time, right? Okay. So Let's move along. And they shall serve as luminaries in the firmament of heaven to shine upon the earth. And it was so. Okay? Now they're shining upon the earth. And when you think about these things shining upon the earth, they're actually watching over it. Watching over the things that are happening on the earth, like guardian angels. Okay? Like guardian angels. Not necessarily are, but like guardian angels. So you get that sense that they are overlooking things that are happening on the earth and having some influence on the things that are happening on the earth. And when I'm talking about earth, we're talking about atoms, the physical things, not the spiritual things. We're talking about the physical things. Anytime we talk about earth, we're talking about physical things. Okay? And all of it. Everything. Whatever you think. Everything. Solidness. Anything that is a particle. And of the creation of things. Okay? And it was so. And God made the two great luminaries, the greater luminary to dominate the day, and the lesser luminary to dominate the night, and the stars. Okay. Now you hear people talk about this, and they're like, "Oh, well, yeah, they made the sun and the moon." What are stars? They're suns, aren't they? Yeah. So, if the lesser luminary has dominates the night and the stars, it's talking about something else other than the moon and the sun. Stars are suns, right? Okay. It's maybe farther away, but it's not what they're talking about here. Okay. The greater luminary, the two great luminaries, the greater luminary to dominate the day, and the lesser luminary to dominate the night and the stars. So, now we know that they're not talking about the sun and the moon here. They're talking about the duality of light, the duality of, we'll say, we're starting to talk about good and evil here. But not that they're bad, not that good is good and bad is bad. It's making the determination of the duality and the plan that is to come. You see, we haven't gotten there yet, but this is the beginning of seeing the requirement for the two, and the necessity to have these two things. Okay, one side and the other side. Okay. And God set them in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth, and to dominate by day and by night, and to separate between the light and the darkness. You see now is it starting to unfold for you here? Now we're starting to see that this light and dark thing is about creating opposing forces. That would be better. Opposing forces. it's a give and take. It's a push and pull, and it's necessary in order for us to have action and movement and creation, and all of these things are moving. Okay. It also gets into the field of quantum mechanics when we think about what's occurring with the atom is the greater light is that which you can see, and the lesser light you can't see. But it's still light. Okay. One's a flash, an extension, a going outward, an expanding. The other is a contraction. Okay. And when we notice what's happening with the atom is that it is winking in and out of existence. Okay. It is happening in the firmament, that it goes on one side of the firmament and the greater light comes out so you can see it, comes back into the spiritual realm where you can't see it, goes back into the physical world. See, it keeps doing this duality thing. Okay? Winking in and out of existence. Here's something interesting, though. How long is it on the other side? How long? How long are we out of existence? I know, it's crazy, but look it up. Google will tell you. Don't trust Google. I'm just kidding. Do whatever you want. The Holy Spirit will tell you what is true and what isn't. So, as we're going through this, and God saw that it was good. Everything that God creates is good. Isn't that wonderful? And there was evening, and there was morning, the fourth day. Oh, I hope you got a little something and this stimulated a little bit of questioning in your mind, and maybe some awness and awareness. So as I want you to keep in mind that the firmament is the line of demarcation. The heaven is the line of demarcation between the physical universe and the spiritual universe. And when they talk about light that you can see, we're talking about the physical universe, and we're talking about light that you can't see. It's on the other side. It's on the other side of the firmament. Okay? So it's constantly going back and forth. And that's necessary for that to happen so that we can have this physical thing. Okay? So may God add his blessing to his word. And until we meet again, I wish you well.